Nigeria is a land of deep faith. In every town and village, you will find churches and shrines, places where hope meets desperation, and sometimes where faith is twisted into something deadly. In 2017, a crime emerged from Edo State that shocked the entire nation. A pastor who claimed he could perform miracles, a woman who trusted him with her life, and a ritual that ended in horror. This is Cases of the Continent, and today I'm telling you the true story of the pastor who buried a worshipper alive. If you found this story meaningful, please support our work. Subscribe to Cases of the Continent. Turn on notifications so you never miss our next investigation. Give this video a thumbs up. It helps more people discover these stories. And if you know someone who should hear this, share this video today. Together we can bring these hidden truths to light. Thank you for watching. Stay safe and stay aware. This is the true story of the pastor who buried a worshipper alive. A reminder that faith should never be blind, and that hope, when twisted, can become the most dangerous weapon of all. For Grace's children, no amount of prayer or justice can fill the emptiness. They grew up believing in miracles. They learned too late that some miracles come at a terrible price. The truth is, stories like these are not as rare as they should be. All across Africa, thousands of self-proclaimed prophets claim they can cure every disease, break every curse, and bring unimagined wealth. And while some are harmless, others leave behind nothing but grief and graves. It began in a settlement outside Benin City, Edo State. The pastor was known in the area simply as Pastor Victor. He was tall, with a soft voice that people said could calm even the most troubled soul. But behind that voice was a man obsessed with power and wealth. He built a following by claiming he had been chosen by God to cleanse the land of evil, and for many, he was their only hope. The woman who came to him in July 2017 was middle-aged, a mother of 4. Her name was never fully released by the police, only her first name, Grace. Grace had been struggling with illness and poverty for years. Neighbors said she tried hospitals, herbalists, and prayers. Nothing worked. When she heard about Pastor Victor, she believed this was her last chance. From the start, the pastor told Grace that her suffering was not ordinary. According to him, she was under a family curse, a generational bondage that could only be broken through a powerful ritual. Grace listened, hopeful. What she didn't know was that Pastor Victor had been telling the same story to many women who crossed his path. The ritual was planned for a Friday night. Grace arrived at the compound carrying her last savings. She wore a white garment, the uniform for all spiritual cleansings. Witnesses said she looked afraid but determined. She had no idea that by dawn she would be gone forever. According to the police report, Pastor Victor led Grace to a hidden shrine behind the church. He told her to lie in a shallow pit dug into the red earth. He began to chant. He sprinkled herbs and anointed her head with oil. Then, in a voice that was almost gentle, he told his assistants, "Seal the vessel so the curse can be broken." At first, Grace thought the sand was symbolic, just part of the ceremony. But as they began to cover her chest, then her neck, panic took over. She begged them to stop. She cried out that she couldn't breathe, but no one listened. When the earth finally silenced her voice, Pastor Victor closed his eyes and whispered a final prayer. Then he locked the shrine door and walked away. If you find these stories important, please take a moment now to subscribe to Cases of the Continent. Give this video a thumbs up. It helps more people learn the truth. and turn on notifications so you'll be the first to hear our next investigation. Your support allows us to keep exposing crimes that others would rather keep hidden. The next morning, he told the congregation that Grace had left early, fully delivered. When her children came searching, they were turned away. Your mother has gone on pilgrimage, he said. For 5 days, the family searched the villages, asking questions no one wanted to answer. But on the sixth day, an anonymous tip reached the local police. It simply said, "Check the back of the church. You will find her." Officers arrived quietly, accompanied by village elders. They searched the grounds, ignoring the pastor's protests. When they reached the shrine, the smell was unmistakable. They dug through the fresh earth and uncovered Grace's body. Her arms were bound across her chest, her eyes still open. As the crowd gathered, wails of grief filled the compound, and in that moment, the mask of holiness fell away. Pastor Victor was led away in handcuffs, but even then, some followers still insisted he was innocent. Back at the police station, Pastor Victor refused to speak. When asked why he did it, he simply stared at the wall. Investigators believed Grace was not his first victim. They found traces of other burials near the same shrine, but without clear identities. Those cases were harder to prove. One woman whose sister had vanished months before told the court, "He said she had a spirit husband. He took her behind the church. I never saw her again." Her testimony brought gasps from the gallery. During the trial, the courtroom was packed. Some came to see justice, others came because they still believed he was a man of God. The defense argued that Grace consented to the ritual, that she knew the risks, but prosecutors showed evidence that she had been restrained. And in the end, the court found Pastor Victor and two accomplices guilty of murder and criminal conspiracy. They were sentenced to death by hanging. The case sparked a national conversation about the dangers of unregulated churches, about how faith can become a weapon in the wrong hands, and about how desperation can make good people vulnerable to evil. Even now, years later, the compound where Grace died remains abandoned. Locals say they hear cries at night. Others refuse to go near it. They call it the place of unfinished prayers. Ritual killings disguised as spiritual practices are a dark stain on the fabric of faith in Nigeria. Too often, self-proclaimed pastors use fear, superstition, and desperation to manipulate their followers, turning houses of worship into places of horror. These crimes thrive in silence, where shame keeps victims quiet and where blind belief protects the predators. But here on Cases of the Continent, we speak that silence out loud, because these stories deserve to be known, because the victims deserve to be remembered, and because somewhere someone might still be walking into a similar trap.